Hey everyone, welcome to the show, my so-called fabulous. I'm Tiffany. Welcome to the show today. And 8 years ago, I adopted my fabulous little Lala. Changed my life. You've heard my story. Was bit as a young child and finally decided it was time. I often wonder, with this precious unconditional love, this fur baby, I call it, how anyone could be cruel to an animal and neglect anyone, but especially an animal, helpless animal. So my sweet friend, Dr. Robin Carson, that helps me so much with this podcast, really helped me and said, you should really talk to Lauren Anton, the Executive Director of Saving Hope in Fort Worth. And she's here today with some friends. If you're on YouTube, you have to check out the friends that I have in the studio today. And Katie Wittenberg, the event coordinator. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having us.
You are so welcome, everyone. And please go to YouTube because you can see everyone in the studio. Behind me on the floor is Mackenzie with Mavis, so sweet, with a t-shirt on of Saving Hope, and little man is in Lauren's arms, just as cool as a cucumber. I mean, just happy as can be.
Happy to be here.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So tell me about Saving Hope. Lauren, you have been with this fabulous nonprofit for 16 years, and you're the executive director. You've seen it all, haven't you?
It's definitely been a ride.
I'll bet.
Mostly happy, but it's with a lot of bumps in the road. So I started with the foundation where Hope was found on the Moncrief Ranch. And after a few years, I started fostering. And so a rescue was formed as another 501 with the foundation working together for animal welfare.
Wow. Okay, so take me back to Kit Moncrief's ranch when he actually started this. What happened? What was the catalyst?
Hope was found on their ranch with her muzzle taped shut with duct tape, and she was stabbed and left for dead. And the Weatherford Police Department were really helpful in, making animal welfare be a major issue that they looked at. They tried to find who did it. They never found who did it. And that's how the organization started. And they focused primarily on large scale spay and neutering, as well as education in the public school system, so that we might not be able to change the adult's vision of how an animal is treated or it being a possession versus part of family, but we can change these children's ideas of what having an animal is like in their home.
Right. Exactly. And how to treat people. And that's what we should be doing for everything and everyone. Sure. So that's how, so Hope was a dog.
Yes.
Did you
still alive?
That was my question.
Beautiful.
Really?
She's so cute. She's a pug mix, and she's with Kit Moncrief now at her house.
What age is she?
Wow, probably 14.
Okay. She's thriving, though.
But she's doing great. Yes.
I can't believe
lots
it.
of people to care for.
So someone stabbed a dog?
Yes. And the marks of the muzzle are still there from the duct tape. So shockingly, she made it, and has been a kind of a face to let's do something in Texas, in the Fort Worth community and surrounding areas.
Gosh, I mean, just the motivation of those words alone and Saving Hope is enough to get anyone involved. Now, you have been, I'm looking at you, at Katie, you've been with since 2017, and you've seen a lot, right?
I've seen a lot. I've fostered a lot. I work really closely with Lauren, so the good, the bad, the ugly. It's all worth it, though. It's all for the dogs. It's all worth it. The success and happy stories, keep us going every day, because it can be daunting and hard and heartbreaking.
Right.
But it's also exciting and happy and fun. So it's a roller coaster every day, I would say, but worth it.
Every day.
Well worth it.
So what would the number one mission be? I'll ask this out of ignorance, but would the number one mission be to spay and neuter, or would it to be to foster? Or is it all a lump?
That's really hard to answer, but I do think if we had to answer one, it would be to educate, because if everyone was educated, they would be spayed and neutered, they would be adopted, they would be fostered. I think they would see their impact on animals and the community if they're educated. And a lot of these people aren't necessarily abusing animals. There's a lot that many just don't know any better. Mm-hmm. And we have to arm them with that. And even if, let's say someone doesn't like animals, which I think is hard to believe, but it's also about a safety issue. We don't want stray animals procreating, running the streets, putting kids and people in danger. I mean, we've had this happen many times where there's strays, and there's a principal that calls, some don't have, schools don't all have fences. Mm-hmm. And so it really kind of, it can make anyone, this can be kind of
all inclusive.
Yes. Like, for anyone.
All inclusive.
Even if you're not dog obsessed or cat obsessed, kind of the points Lauren touched on is important. It's about the community and the, where everything's allocated, the attention, the emphasis on spaying and neutering is so that we, take care of our streets and our community and the welfare of humans in return, and children and other pets, other beloved pets.
Sure. So. Absolutely. Yeah. Because you said something, Lauren, earlier when we were talking. Animals, just like humans, sometimes we react. You know what I mean? We react out of fear. We react when we don't feel well. And that's what you were saying earlier. I mean, It just happens.
It is. And it's one of those things where you hope every journey with an animal is a positive one. It's not always the case, but the majority of the time, I think if we just give the chance and, it works out, and the animals change people's lives.
Change people.
And a lot of people have said, well, I just am not into animals. I want to give to children. But they have to understand that we're going into the schools and we're changing the children's lives. Mm-hmm. We're changing the senior living, their lives. Yeah. So
yes.
It's one at a time. So it's a kind of like a domino effect. It's not just animal welfare. It affects
everyone. Katie, you were telling me earlier about going into senior living, mm-hmm. and that you can just see the people that yes. Tell us what y'all are doing there.
I think we go 2 times a month, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 times a month to a couple different facilities. It's just,
they want us more, but we need more volunteers for that.
So you need volunteers.
Yep. Yeah. It's a rewarding experience for both ends, and it's such a joy to see the residents there, just their spirits lift up and them just get, they love to socialize with our volunteers too. It's the sweetest thing you'd ever see. So they get to hold little puppies. We get to stir conversation about Saving Hope, which they just are in awe of, which is really sweet. And it's socialization for everybody, and it increases their mood. It just leaves them with a happier day.
Endorphins.
Keeps them busy. Put something on their schedule, on their calendar. It's
well,
awesome.
And also has taught us, I think, a lot. And knowing, I did not realize the people that work at these senior living we go to the memory care and assisted living.
Yes.
We don't go to the independent part of it, how stuck they are and how these amazing workers there have to fill their day mm-hmm. with things to do. And so this has been a really positive, they've loved it. And mm-hmm. you can see it.
You can just see it on because we all need help, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. I read in your impact report, just a recap, that was something that was staggering to me, and mm-hmm. talking about the overpopulation problem. Mm-hmm. One female dog can have up to 508 puppies in 7 years. One female cat can have up to 4,948 kittens in 7 years. Yep. Tell me that's wrong. Tell me that's a typo.
I wish it was.
Tell me about this.
Those numbers are real. They're true. Why we put it in there is exactly like how you just reacted to it. It's like a shocking, wait a minute, and did I read that right kind of thing? And that translates to our stray, Saving Hope's stray intake is they're coming from the street. They're not getting spayed and neutered. Nobody's caring for them, and they just
to pick them up.
Repopulate. And unfortunately, those numbers are probably true for some of the Fort Worth females.
Goodness gracious.
We end up with the shelter.
I think our 42% of our intake are strays. Mm-hmm. When really logistically, you would want that to be city transfers where they go to the city first and then we save them from the city. But everyone is overwhelmed right now. I don't know of a rescue or any shelter environment that is not full. Many have closed their doors. They'd only take on appointment only. And I feel like that's how we are different. We do try to, we have to say no sometimes, but we try to say yes as much as we can if we feel like the dog could benefit from being in our care.
Right. Tell us about
or cat.
Right, exactly. Because I did have the question to someone that then introduced us. Is it cats and dogs?
It is.
It is. And you have we need volunteers for sure, by far. But you have a fabulous staff. Look you have 3 of them. Mackenzie's over here in the 4. Over here.
Mackenzie's not afraid of a stray.
Oh.
So that 42%, I don't know, maybe 40% came from Mackenzie picking them up.
Or catching them.
Yeah,
we have a really good search and trap team now too.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. And there's a text that's like, this dog's here. Oh, I'll go get the trap.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. It's pretty amazing. I personally don't know how to set one, but I've helped get the dog out of one.
Yeah. We've talked about this. You're too busy to do that. We got to get everybody agrees that she's a very, very busy woman. Okay, so when your facility, tell me about your facility. And I know you have plans for the future as well, but tell me what about Saving Hope?
The Alito facility.
Yes.
Let's touch on that.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome. And it is underway. It's not completed yet, although it's up and functioning. We are housing about 70 of our dogs there. It's our rescue ranch and sanctuary. We've got staff out there around the clock. We have play yards. We have one-on-one time. We hold socialization activities on the weekends. So certain volunteers that are really good, kind of behaviorists, if you will, come out with some of our volunteers and kind of teach socialization. And the dogs that are maybe a little more high energy get extra attention. We really try to cater to each individual dog's needs, which is really, really cool. And what Alito serves for. It's not a permanent place for the dogs. So we are actively looking for fosters for every dog that's at Alito, or adopters as well. But that way we can keep taking more and keep, intaking at Alito as well. So it's kind of a revolving door, but a positive revolving door. So phase 2 is underway. I know Lauren's been working hard on a bunch of plans and kind of details and architectural stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
I
enjoy it once it's there and built. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Did you do that?
Yeah.
So
I'm not really great at building either, luckily with lots of help, but we're really excited. We are building a vet clinic. And
wow.
Yes. So it will be amazing. That should probably break down within the next month. And we have a sponsor for the vet clinic, but each room do have naming opportunities. And we also we have a senior sanctuary that is being built where it's not necessarily a forever home. They can be adopted, but where seniors can live out their life if needed. And it will be more like a house environment, not a shelter environment. So we're trying to make it really peaceful out there. It's 15 acres. It has a pond. It's like at the top of a hill. It's just really nice. You feel relaxed when you're out there. And we hope a lot of volunteers can come out and get some, mental stimulation or whatever the case may be. And then we have mom and puppy pods. There are 8 in all, and it's where pregnant moms or moms that are nursing can go in a 10 by 16, 10 by 16 air conditioned, has plumbing, and each one has a yard. It's amazing.
They're like those little tiny homes.
Yes.
Yeah. So each mom or nursing mom or about to give birth or just have their own house.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. It really is. That's my happy place.
Yeah. I like to sneak in there.
Just to see that. Okay.
And then we're building a quarantine building, which will be, so what's happening is when we take dogs from shelters or even out in the public, we really don't know their medical for the first 2 weeks or so. Yeah. And so right now what's happening is they're going in straight into foster care, which that means a lot of vet bills. So when we have a quarantine, we'll essentially keep them in their own area with their own HVAC systems where it doesn't, if someone has parvo, then you're not going to get someone else, another dog too. So it'll be a holding kind of place for, 2 weeks or so So then we can put them in foster care, especially new fosters that don't understand like medical processes, and they get nervous about if there's a runny nose or, and you know, our seasoned fosters, they kind of know the protocol and then don't worry. But let's say it's a TCU student that's a sophomore and someone's getting kennel cough. That's very common. They want to go to the vet right away, and it's understandable, but we're trying to cut costs and like have our dollars go towards as much as possible go towards the animals.
Right. I mean, just amazing.
That quarantine building and then the vet clinic and center being on site and saving hopes is going to be huge for us. A lot of our fundraising efforts, a lot of our dollars go directly to medical costs, medical bills.
Wow. This last year, medical, I think 1.4 million.
Wow. Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. Definitely crazy. So how you talking about all these things and I see in your face the passion and the love that you both have, all of you, and Mackenzie over here. Look at this puppy back here with her. I call them all puppies because I think it's something. But how do y'all cope with the emotional challenge and the challenges, plural, of working with this? I saw your Christmas card. Our dear friend Ashley Bartlett, she showed me your Christmas card. You have several dogs in your home. I don't know how I would.
It's hard. I can just say I mean, I would do it again, but it has been really hard. And I have now 13 dogs, and I can't have any more. So every dog that I foster, I know I have to let go of,
right?
Unless a friend or a family member is going to adopt, like Little Man. But it is heart-wrenching, but again, the end stories are so amazing. We have a Facebook page that's all our adopters, and it's all positives about the impact that these animals that they adopted have changed their lives, and that's kind of what keeps me going. And then our incredible team that cares so much and come out to Aledo and bring each other up, because it is pretty much, they call it, and it's specifically, I think, rescue, they say compassion fatigue. I think it's in a few other fields, but where it's a real thing and you feel like you're kind of drowning all the time. But so we try to lean on each other and then also look at the positive stories, because they're not all going to be perfect.
Right.
Y'all, let me interrupt the show for just a minute to introduce you to one of my new favorite products. Following my breast explant surgery, I discovered ASEA and have been using Renew 28 ever since. Seriously, I'm not sure how I ever lived without this product. The fabulous gel has helped fluff my breasts post-surgery, reduce the crepiness on my arms, tighten and smooth my face, and help heal a nasty scar on my daughter's foot. I'm serious, it's so fabulous. This will continue to be a staple in my home for sure. You will just love the youthful appearance it provides and the hydrated, smooth way your skin will feel. I love all the ASEA products I've tried, and I'm sure you will too. Learn more and shop at shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon. And again, that's shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon, or click the link in the show notes.
So when myself being afraid of animals and then having a fabulous animal, I was told, people didn't know if I was ready for a rescue because, and help me out, I'm trying to say this in the most eloquent way, because abused animals would take a special person to understand and patience. Is that right? I mean, it's not any different from a child, but
right.
I don't. Okay, so I have heard this a lot.
Yeah,
and I feel like even my trainer, who I adore, she says, "Well, rescues are kind of broken," and not all rescues are. And just because they're a rescue versus purebred, I know purebred dogs that have been either overbred and they've congenital issues. Like there's certain breeds that have issues,
sure,
and or they're the English bulldog, like their jaws completely changing where they can't even breathe anymore. So there's been broken a lot of places, but I do understand people worrying about that. So what we do is that's why we encourage fosters and foster to adopt, to where that dog can go into the home and you try him or her out and see, is this the right fit? And don't feel guilty if it isn't, because that might happen. And we try to be as truthful as possible as well in terms of what is the behavior of this dog and what this dog is, in need of.
Yes.
And the people come second for us. We first think, okay, what does this dog need? What type of home? And then usually it works out because we will tell the family or the person, we don't think this is the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
Some get mad, but for the most part, it works out with knowledge in foster homes and behavior is people that we're talking about, behaviors that work with us. So.
And not know how to deal with animals, right? I mean,
yes.
And people, let's just be frank,
it's more about actually, they always say training a dog is more about training the person.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, and I agree, but training also, there's everything from, you'll have people that say, oh, don't let him sleep on your bed. He's ruling you or she's ruling you. I'm thinking, we'd be in trouble.
Oh,
but
I'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
So, and never say never, people. Never say never. Because my girl, she sleeps in our bed.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I sleep in her bed now.
There you go.
Yes.
So sweet. What are the biggest misconceptions, any way you look at this, about animal rescue organizations? Are there misconceptions about this at all that you're seeing?
One I know specifically is that no rescue makes money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, none. You're always drowning. You're always owing money. Sadly, because of vet bills. Now, I mean, unless there's someone that's not doing what they should be doing, I think that people don't understand why they're adoption fees. And it's not only to make sure that they're a priority and that they're on the top of your list. What if something were to happen, this dog will cost. And are you going to be there long term for that dog? But I do think people think that you're just, a lot of people think that there's just all this money behind it. And it's costly, but it's worth it, and it does change the community.
Mm-hmm.
We just need some change here in Fort Worth. So, what would yours be? That would be interesting.
That's a good one, and it also makes me think of. I think you told me the other day, our adoption fees range. Just case by case, dog by dog, age by age, but we're losing money on our adoption fee. Like, we're not charging enough because we can't.
So a dental could be $400.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
but then we're adopting
that
dog out for $150.
Right. Whatever the case may be, we're definitely, but that is definitely probably the biggest misconception.
I think so too.
Right. And it's just not, that's.
You know what another one is for me? Just saving hope rescue specifically is people thinking we're a shelter, which is, we actively work with our shelters and support them and they support us, but it's just kind of like the Alito facility. It's an open concept home type of feel, not a shelter environment. I have to clarify that a lot, I feel like, when I'm talking to people, which is no big deal, but I think it's important to distinguish the differences, because although Lauren mentioned that Texas is the #1 kill state, that's not we are rescuing and saving, rehabilitating, adopting out, connecting with trainers, finding fosters.
And trying to also owner surrenders, we're getting about 15 per day.
They're bad.
Because you have to go with appointments at the city shelters now. So they ask us to take. And so we're trying to have them retain that dog, whatever it means, if they need dog food or if they need, we try. At the end of the day, some of them still want to surrender. And sometimes we have to say no. Mm-hmm. We hope that animal is okay, but we just can't take in every dog or cat.
You were talking, Katie, you were telling me a story when you started. It really resonated with me because you've been working since 2017 and obviously you're a pet lover for sure. Mm-hmm. But you were saying you don't get it. Like people just, you don't understand, like people, your neighbor, they don't understand.
Right.
Explain that to me because when you said that, I think that was the old me too. Still, I don't see what you see daily.
I was just explaining that we are so deep in this and it is our everyday lives and we wouldn't change a thing, but we have to kind of, I don't know if humble ourselves is the right word,
recheck
ourselves. And our neighbor doesn't know what we see and face and know from day to day living this. So
family members.
Yeah, even family. So
and best friends. If I asked, do you know how you get heartworms? I was telling her the other day, I think, and I'm thinking, I don't think a lot of my friends might know. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's not that they're ignorant or.
No, it's the education piece we were talking about. Is this that I feel like it's very common knowledge for me, but I'm very aware that it's not for the everyday person that I interact with or run into here in our community. Right. It's not. And it's okay, but that's why we're here too, is that education piece is huge. We say, okay, we have an emphasis on spay or neuter, but why?
Right.
It's because we're actively in an overpopulation crisis where we're facing that there are more dogs and cats than people right now in the community. We're 167.
Each house, I think, would have to adopt like 12 animals in order to.
And it shouldn't be that way. And that's why people who don't even love dogs and cats should care. Is like our streets are overrun. We have, efforts being spent in a lot of ways that maybe they don't agree with, but what can you do about it? So that's kind of.
So I feel like it should be on everyone's radar. It's kind of, even if you're not, yes.
Well, exactly what Katie just said. Even if you don't love dogs and cats, all the more reason. There's 15 on your street.
Literally.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. So there's a facet of everything that it should be relatable.
Mm-hmm.
I will say 4 years ago, and some people relate it to COVID. I think part of it is COVID. They did not vaccinate or spay and neuter during that time. And we're definitely catching up, but there's more to it too. Things have just drastically changed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago, we were in a better place with animal welfare.
Oh dear.
We did not see, it's kind of like, it's related kind of, I feel like, mental health too, that it's a major problem in the United States.
Yes.
And Texas might be on the top of that list too. I don't know, but definitely animal welfare. We should do better.
How can Texas legislation, what can they do? What can be done?
I think mandating spay and neuter, but the problem is you can't just have a law if you can't enforce it. And that is a major problem. I think.
Enforcement, yeah.
And if we don't have enough someone called me about an animal on the front of their, in the front of their yard, and they said it had been there 2 days. And do I blame the city for not picking it up? No, it's hard to do that. They don't have the funds and the amount of people they need to do what they're doing to keep the community safe.
Yeah, manpower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more about getting out there, and hopefully I'm not like a legislator, I don't know.
Exactly.
But I have met with a lot of people that are working on bills. I know that there was one with backyard breeders that you have to pay a certain amount. But again, even if it's a law, if you're not enforcing it and you're not holding someone accountable, then
there's no risk.
Right.
Yeah. There's absolutely
so it's kind of like we've had a lot of breeders that are surrendering to us. And people say, why aren't you bashing them? Why aren't you saying their name out on Facebook? And I said, because there's not any laws to enforce this. We're going to take the animal and do right by the animal.
Right.
Once there's a law, then we can, talk about it. But just bashing is going to cause anger, and then they're going to dump the dogs instead of call us,
Sure.
And that made me think of another misconception, that you can't find a purebred and rescue.
That's a good one.
Very false. Very, very false. We've taken in over 250 in 2024 alone of purebred breeder surrender dogs.
We got 6 French bulldogs last week.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well, schnauzers, poodles, doodles,
usually
French and English bulldogs, min pins, chihuahuas, multi-poos,
golden retrievers.
Yep, we've had a few golden retrievers.
Why? Because the breeder can't handle it?
Well, a few are closing down, which is always good. And when you're getting girls, that's a good thing. They give away boys a lot, but the girls are the ones that have the baby.
Sure.
So it's like, this is a good thing. I think part of it is inflation, and they cannot charge $4,000 for a French bulldog that's going to have issues, and then some of these breeders, they've adopted out these dogs, and specifically a lot of French bulldogs, and they adopt them out, and then they end up returning them back to the breeder, and then they call us. And
they don't want
a lot of medical,
they have to.
Lots of medical going on, and they don't want to pay for it, and they didn't know it was going to be, such a responsibility.
Sure, financially and I mean, emotionally and physically,
and we have a lot of people also a few other things, deployed military. We taken all the animals from and there was one that was just so sad. And he doesn't know how long he'll be gone. He loved this dog. It was a senior retriever. We got him adopted. So we try not to say no to any, veterans or military. We're also, it is in the works, and we're talking about a veteran center out at Alito where we would have 2 trainers, and then they train a dog per veteran that, qualifies, so that, if they have PTSD or if they have nightmares, a dog, we train them to where that they can assist, whether it's waking them up from nightmares or whether it's, whatever, if they're handicapped. And so we're working with a Florida rescue that already has this in place, and it's been really successful. So we are working on that as well. So there's lots of moving parts, and it's just, we do still need funding always. So
absolutely. My question to you is, how can I help? How can my followers, viewers, listeners help? What can we do?
Our big 4 is foster, volunteer, donate, and adopt.
Right.
Did I already say that one?
No.
Foster, volunteer, donate, adopt.
Educate.
Educate. Yeah. Well, no, is it on my team?
Yeah.
We need to add that on there.
Yes. And everyone can do something. And what I say on Facebook, I don't like Facebook, but if I have to go on there, I'm like, we have 230,000 followers.
Oh my!
What if everyone gave $1? That would be almost 3 months of medical. But our medical is about $100,000 a month, at least.
Well, I think about it like this too. We try to get every dog, at least in our care, on heartworm prevention. Well, one heartworm prevention pill for one dog for 1 month is $16 to $18 a pill at our cost. Okay, but times, how many did I say? 603. But that's a medication that has to be given monthly.
And if
that
they're
is bare
positive,
minimum. That's where we're starting.
Heartworm positive, that's $300 to $800 per animal that didn't know. And there are a lot of people that don't know about heartworms.
You mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
And we should. So explain heartworms.
So one mosquito bite can cause heartworms. And people think it's a worm like, the gastrointestinal worms. It's completely different. And I think a lot of people will say, oh, my dog doesn't go outside. Well, mosquitoes can go inside.
Oh.
And if they go to the bathroom or if they're ever outside, a mosquito, all it takes is one bite. It's not every mosquito has it, but if that mosquito has it and bites the dog, it is one of the most common, treatments that we do.
Mm-hmm. It's like a parasite. Yeah, it is.
And then when they do the aminoside treatment, it's where they're killing it in the bloodstream. And so they have to stay still for 4 weeks because that worm can die and go to the heart or the lung.
Serious people.
Yeah. It's much more serious than, taking that monthly pill, we take it for advantage, for granted.
Yeah.
I would love to know the numbers. I haven't asked, but the shelter, what percentage are heartworm positive? Because there are a lot. And those are the ones that also aren't adopted.
Right.
Because, Fort Worth, I know, used to sponsor the heartworm treatment if someone adopted. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of things that just can't be covered.
Sure. Absolutely. So. I'm going to ask you this, and again, another question that people probably don't know. Texas is the #1 kill state. What does that mean?
It's sad. It means that we put down dogs more than any other state in our country. So...
And these are adoptable dogs.
So let me clarify. This isn't just for a dog bite or behavioral issues. This is the overpopulation crisis. There are no rooms in kennels and in shelters. Fort Worth alone, last time I looked, so it might be updated a little bit, 167% overcapacity every Monday.
Dallas is too.
Yeah, and that's just one. There's 2 Fort Worth shelters. Never mind Dallas, and then every little...
And then all the little shelters.
County
Denver,
in between.
All the little ones that,
They all have space. It is space. So...
River Oaks, for
sad.
example, they have a little kennel. It's 5 kennels. So she calls us. A lot of them have our cell phones, and they'll call and say, we're at capacity. Can you take this one?
Or we're going to have to... Essentially what that means is like,
they need to put them down.
We know that they're going to sleep. And it's unfortunately dozens every Monday and Tuesday, weekly.
And summer puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's just not enough people for these dogs, and we just need to take better care of our.
Yes.
Well, and realize it affects everyone,
It does.
even if you don't love animals. It's a reflection of the community, really.
That's right.
And we should do better.
In the community. Like,
Right.
I mean, we should do
So
better.
let's talk about Fort Worth, but then the communities across the globe. What can they do?
I would say if you can't foster, if you can't adopt, if you can't donate, volunteer. And what that can mean too is if you're on social media, share a post.
Right.
Write a post for us.
Transporting.
Yep.
We have people, dogs that need to go just to a vet appointment.
Right.
We've had a lot of people. So we have this one woman, for example, that she's adopted, I think, 4 from a Snell. Love her.
Yeah.
And her husband has dementia. But he loves to be in the car. They can't foster anymore. They do donate, but that's their
like to
giving
transport
back
for
is transporting now. And so they do it on a weekly basis, if not more.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've had dogs adopted on a random Wednesday because somebody saw our post and shared it. And then their family member was like, oh, cute, I want to meet and I'm going to apply. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. So volunteering can mean so many different things. It can mean transporting, actual hands-on volunteering, just being kind of active on social media with us and for us, following us, sharing, posting,
Or questions
reposting,
on the post.
engaging, commenting, liking.
Of course.
And if you can foster or adopt, we have applications on our websites or our website, not plural. Tell your friends, tell your family. Tell your neighbor, tell your aunt,
we also
tell your
do,
uncle.
we didn't even touch on this, but we do a lot of puppy parties. We go to schools, call us for de-stress. It used to be for the kids.
Right.
Now it's the stress. A lot of adults are asking for de-stressing parties for the puppies just to come in on their off day to be able to touch and feel and,
relax
just,
for a second.
be able to take, and we go during finals or, even birthdays. We do that as well. So.
Well, I am just beyond impressed with you, the 3 women and the 2 puppies in this room. Oh my gosh, look at little man.
I know.
Little man wants to go back and hang out with me.
I know. He can be kind of little.
For sure. But,
might eat them.
Well, I can tell you, you guys are going to be on my social media stories, and you've got a large audience that's global that's listening to this and watching on YouTube. Did you know that little man that you're on YouTube? Did you know?
Important to say we do adopt out of state.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can hold meet and greets virtually over the phone or Zoom. So if you are out of state, please still go on our website. We have all of our adoptable pets on a landing page that you can access through our website, and look at our Facebook and apply.
We've
First
adopted
step is
out
always
every
applying,
state except for 3 and 425 to Washington. So it's pretty
Well, thank you so much. Tell us your Instagram and your Facebook page, please.
Instagram is going to be Saving Hope Rescue, all one word, and the Facebook page is under Saving Hope Rescue as well.
Well, we'll be there, and we all have a responsibility here, and I can't thank y'all enough.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh, Mackenzie,
You'll need to
over
come
here.
visit.
Yeah,
come see.
Thank you so much, and we would love to come visit. Can I come visit you?
Yeah.
Huh?
He would
Oh,
love
he
it.
wants to kiss me.
I know.
Oh. So sweet. So, oh my goodness,
He likes the nose.
Take me to dinner first. Oh my gosh. Well, everyone, thank you so much for following on. We have a huge responsibility. We just all want to help. And go to Saving Hope, and I'm going to be shouting from the rooftops about these fabulous women and all these little kiddos here too. And everyone, I say it every single week, keep being fabulous.